The Egyptian goddess Sekhmet has been on my mind a lot lately. When I first went to Egypt back in 1997, she was one of the statues or the little models of statues that I bought while I was out there. I was just drawn to her. But I never knew that much about her, and it's only been through these last few years that I've been really studying her and the power that she has. You've probably seen her in the museums or photographs of her in books, and she's either seated or standing. But there is no statue that is exactly the same. They're all different. She's got also many, many names, some of which I'm going to recite now. So she's known as Sekhmet, the Great One of Magic, the Mother of the Gods. And that's one of the things I find quite interesting. She is one of the first in the pantheon of the Egyptian gods, and she was apparently married to Ptah, who is again one of the lead gods. Sekhmet is the one who was before the gods were. She was lady of the place of the beginning of time, and that's often mentioned in the prayers and the writings about her, that she was around when time began. I believe Septepe is the time when this planet started, or when the gods came to this planet and began to live. But apparently she was before then. She was beloved of Ra, who is her father. Her sister is Bas. Her beloved husband is Ptah, but he's also her brother, which happens a lot in the old Egyptian mythology, and I wonder if that means something else, but I'm not sure what. It is said that at her wish the arts were born, that she has a beautiful eye which gives life to the two lands, and a beautiful face. Her father is Ra, as I was saying, and she's also sometimes known as the Eye of Ra, and sometimes even known as the Eye of Horus. She is the roamer of deserts, which I find just a wonderful image to think about, of Sekhmet, the cat-headed humanoid god walking about the deserts, though it's said that when she's out on her own, she does just fall straight into her lion animal body. She's the lady of the scarlet-coloured garment. Of course, the statues we have now, none of them have any colour to them. They're all made of this stone or granite. I think most of them are obsidian. She is the self-contained one, the awakener, the lady of enchantments, and also the opener of ways, which again comes back to her being the great one of magic, because it's you need the opening of ways to make the magic work. She's the lady of transformation, the lady of the many faces, the giver of ecstasies. She's the satisfier of desires, which is why many people send their wishes or their prayers to her. She's the inspirer of mouths, which I find quite fascinating, since she seems to be quite an independent, ferocious power behind her, which is why she's also known as the victorious one in battles, who overcomes all enemies. She's the ruler of serpents and of dragons, and of course the ruler of lions, of which the head she has, the lioness. Even though she has a mane in all her statues, she's still the feminine. She's the complete one, the sublime one, the enlightener and the empowerer. She's the lady of the magic lamp and the mother of the dead. She's also the lady of the bloodbath and the destroyer by plagues. So when the plagues are sent, it's normally sent by her, or she's the one that brings them. But because she has a duality, she's also the great one of healing. So she might be able to send the plagues, but she can also heal one from them. She is the lady of the waters of life, the mystery lady of the tomb. She is also the great one in the places of judgment and execution, so she must sit on the panel of the judges, sending forth justice and retribution. She is the guide and the protectress of the perils of the underworld. She is the unrivalled and the invincible one, the ruler of the chamber of flames, which is interesting because obviously she's the lion, comes from the desert, the hot areas, so she has that fire in her and can control it. Some say she's the winged one, but I haven't found any statues yet of her with winged, but maybe them wings are what she gains when she's using the magic. She's powerful of heart. She's the aware, the gleaming one. And it is the image most beloved by art. She is the goddess who rouses the people, the lady of jubilation, the adorable one, shining of continents, which of course is again going back to the shining ones that turn up in many myths and histories. She's the incomparable one. There is just one of her. Though I know some people get her confused with Bath, who is her sister, and I myself did sometimes. Also known as the Lady of Intoxications. She did like a beer. And she is mightier than all the gods. And she's most beautiful. More beautiful than all the other goddesses. She's the most strong, the strongest of all. And she upholds all the laws. She is the protectress of the divine order. She's also the one who holds back the darkness and brings forth the beautiful light. She is the goddess of love. Some say she's the great serpent on the head of her father, and I'm wondering if that refers to the Urias. She's the great one of the incense of the Ennead. And by burning incense, it's how we contact the gods. We send our prayers and our wishes upon the smoke that goes up from our burning incense. She's the great lady of the house of life. She's the lady of the house of books. So I like her even more. I do love a good book, and I'd love to have my own library, and maybe one day she'd let me be a librarian in her library. She's also the Sekhmet of the knives, and I was looking into this, but I can't find anything anywhere about her and knives. But she is the one before whom even evil trembles. So she's not evil personified herself, but there is an evil personification somewhere, and when she comes to deal with it through her laws of justice and such like, obviously the evil trembles. She's known as the Terrible One, which is maybe why the evil trembles. The Lady of all powers, eternal as her father. She is the Bountiful One. She is the one who gives joys. She is also the unwavering, loyal one, which I assume is unwavering loyalty to her father Ra. She is Sekhmet, the lady who sits at the place of the beginning of time. Her essence is fire, tempestuous, and she lives forever. She is the great one of magic. Blessed be the name of Sekhmet, beloved her image. When I was in Greece, I came to the museum there, and there was an Egyptian section, and inside was the first time I ever got to see a Sekhmet with golden eyes. And I'd been told about this, but I'd never seen one. All the Sekhmets I've seen have been uncoloured, unpainted. But when I saw her, it was quite a thing to see, just standing in front of her as she stared at me through them beautiful golden eyes. Now for the triad, it's the goddess Sekhmet, who is wife to Ptah, who's the creator god, and they had a son, Nefertem. He's also human-bodied and has a beard and has a human head. And he dealt with medicine. He was the god of physicians. And Sekhmet herself is quite mysterious because in many of the writings about her, it says that she came before her husband, that she was one of the original gods, and obviously Ra is her father, he's the sun god or the main god, Yet Ptah is often seen as the creator god. So this is why she also has the name the Lady of the Place of the Beginning of Time. Now, Sir Wallace Budge, the Egyptologist, he says that her name comes from the word Sekhem, S-E-K-H-E-M, which means to be strong and violent. And she was pretty mighty. She used that sexual power to win over the peoples, to win her battles, to make people follow her. And Budge writes about her, saying, in the form of the serpent goddess Mehenet, Sekhmet took up her position on the head of her father Ra, and poured out from herself the blazing fire which scorched and consumed his enemies who came near, whilst at those who were some distance away she shot forth swift fiery darts which pierced through and through the things whom they struck. Homage to thee, O Sekhmet, Bast, Ra, thou mistress of the gods, thou bearer of wings, thy lady of the red apparel, queen of the crowns of the south and north, the only one, the sovereign of her father. She is superior to whom the gods cannot be, thou mighty one of enchantments, in the boat of millions of years, thou who art preeminent, who rises in the seat of silence, mother of Pash Arkasha, queen of Parahaka Keferu, mistress and lady of the tomb, mother in the horizon of heaven, gracious one, beloved, destroyer of rebellion, offerings are in their grasp, and thou art standing in the boat of thy divine father to overthrow the enemy. Thou hast placed Maat in the bowels of his boat. Thou art the fire goddess Ami Seshet, whose opportunity escapeth her not. Praise be unto thee, O Lady, who are mightier than the gods. Words of adoration rise unto thee from the 8 gods of Hermopolis. The living souls who are in their hidden places praise the mystery of thee, O thou who art their mother, thou source from which they sprang, who marketh for them a place in the hidden underworld, who makes sound their bones and preserves them from terror, who makes them strong in the abode of everlastingness, who preserves them from the evil chamber of the souls of Hesarah, who is among the company of the gods. Thy name is Sephi per Em Hesarah Hapu Chet,